All right, here we go. Blake, it's just you and me, man.
Let's do it.
The commission, the former commish, they're MIA. So we've hijacked the shop. What's your beard, man? You're looking like you might need a
Yeah,
shop here.
it's thick.
It's
It's
looking
thick.
fresh.
I do. I need to. Oh my gosh!
Oh boy,
There's a golf cart next to me. Scared the crap out of me. Uh,
you're giving
yeah.
off some
Sorry,
Blair Witch Project vibes right now.
something like that, Bridge to Terabithia, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need a quick little shave, but might have to ask Dalton to get me right. Find someone,
Hey, come on now.
But hey, I'm in the right place. Being in the barbershop is a good place to be when you need.
Hey, you definitely you're in good company here in the shop. So fortunately you can stand to let it get a little scraggly and then call upon your boys when you need them. So
yeah, absolutely.
well, with Bradley and Dalton gone for this shop, I think we kind of have some freedom to do whatever we want. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Got you.
The first thing that comes to my mind is just kind of like the state of our teams. Like you and I, we've had a pretty laborious season when it comes to our actual favorite NFL team. I honestly don't know many other people's favorite teams in our group. I feel like there's quite a few Cowboys fans, which they've probably they've had a roller coaster. That's no doubt. But you and I, our teams are in a bad way. I mean, you started off that way. We brought that up a couple weeks ago with the Vikings, but they seem to have bounced back. And then as soon as they bounce back, JJ goes down. So why don't you give us a state of the Vikings? What's going on there? What have you heard from the man himself? Like, I mean, Kirk seems committed. Like, where are we at?
I don't know. To me, that Bears game had a lot of weight in it. Like if we lose that game, the season's over.
You think Kirk would like exercise his option at that point, or would they have encouraged?
I don't know. Yeah, I think if I'm him, I don't know. I think the only team that genuinely makes sense for him to be traded to is Atlanta. Which I think about the Falcons. The talent is crazy there right now. Like they've got guys, and the only thing they don't have is a competent quarterback. Like I don't think
he's getting better. He's getting better. He's gotten better to others, but he's definitely not a win now guy.
He's one of those guys that, man, if he turns the ball over, I don't see the Falcons winning. Like they just can't afford to turn the ball over.
And with that division, you're one good quarterback away from running away with it.
Exactly. Literally. We saw last night the Saints and Carr can't really get anything really going on offense.
Thank God he's got Kamara there. He can just dump it off too.
Yeah, no kidding. But yeah, to me, if I get it, if I'm Kirk, right, it's like you started something, you want to finish it. As a fan, I don't think this team. I think we're better than our record says. Like, I mean,
definitely.
I've seen some stats that's like estimated play value or something like that, where if a few things go some other ways, like if Hawkinson catches that ball against the Chargers in the end zone and doesn't tip it up and get picked, I mean, the whole perspective changes a little bit. I mean, we're in.
Does that be what 3-3 versus 2-4?
And then the Chiefs game. If that PI gets called in the end zone, and if the freaking helmet, dude taking his helmet off gets called, if any of that stuff happens, it's a different conversation. And so even if we're 3-3 and not 4-2, or not 2-4, to me the perspective is totally different. And I know that's one game, but with the Niners on Monday, that's the NFL. I mean, that's what's great about the NFL is anybody can beat anybody, but in reality, I mean, do I really think
last week?
Yeah, I mean, do I really think that Kirk's going to beat the Niners on Monday night? I mean, in Minnesota, and I know Trent Williams and CMC and Debo are questionable, and if they don't play, that's huge. But it's like, well, Jefferson's not playing either. So if those three are out and Jefferson was in, maybe who knows? I've kind of chalked that up as a loss.
Yeah.
So 2-6. We've played one division game. I mean, at best you split the Lions. Probably at best you split the Packers. You play the Bengals still. I mean, there's a lot of good teams we have left to play. And then odds are it's the NFL, you could lose any of those other games. So, I don't know. For me, it's like best chance you lose 9 games. You're 8-9.
Yeah.
And you're one game out of the playoffs. So, I don't know. Part of me is just kind of like, trade Kirk, trade Daniil Hunter, who's been great. Get a early second or a first round pick for him if you can. Just get what you can get for the future. And because we're going to draft a quarterback in the first round, and I want to. But I don't know. I love Kirk. I think Kirk gets too much crap. I think he's a great quarterback. I just don't think Minnesota's built to win with him. That's just the way it is. And I think it just didn't work. I don't think it was a bad call. It just didn't work.
Well, and it didn't work because of him. It just like, yeah, it wasn't that. Yeah, that's an interesting because he's seen, I watched the Netflix series, like he seemed to be like all in on the offense. It's just, and they have a great offense. Just something's not clicking with the defense.
And even the offense is like inconsistent, and Madison hasn't been as good as I thought he was going to be. So I don't know. There's some other things too, like Hawkinson's dropped too many balls. Like he's dropped a lot of passes that would have been huge. The Eagles game, the fumbles, we've fumbled 4 times against the Eagles. And if we don't fumble, we're winning. I mean, Jefferson's fumble was a 10-point swing. Yeah. If you take just Jefferson's fumble, that went from a touchdown to a 3 points for them. And it's like we lost by 7. You know what I mean? Like 10 points. I mean, that was everything for us. So, I don't know. It's just one of those seasons where I'm like, hey, we're worse than I think this team is. So why don't we play into that? I know nobody wants to lose or tank, but I don't know.
Well, based on what you described, like they're like legit. And of course, you could revisionist history play this with everybody, but a couple plays go a different way. You could be 4-2 very easily.
Yeah.
So maybe you are maybe you are as good as you thought. It just luck hasn't had its way. I've always thought this about the NFL. Like I would say probably, what was there, 17 games? Probably 10 of them, maybe 11 of them go exactly as you would imagine. Like the better team wins and whatever. And then there's 3 games that you're playing where you play good enough to beat a team that's better than you. And then the other 3 you play worse than a team that's worse than you. And so, but sometimes those games just work out to where you play awful, they play really good, but you just make a couple plays at the end and you win. Kind of like Buffalo a couple weeks last week. Like they just happened to score. Like they happened to. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. I am, to be honest, I have way more hope and faith in the Vikings than I do the Titans. That's for sure. Tannehill, like when he came and took over for Mariota, I remember thinking like, I don't really even know. And then like the next year they had the number 1 offense, and I was like, dude, this what in the world?
Championship.
And then and honestly, if they just fed Derrick Henry like maybe twice in the second half, you think that AFC Championship could look differently. But I think Henry got 2 touches in the second half of the AFC Championship game when we got beat, which is insane. It's crazy. I think some of his like he definitely limits your offense in some ways, especially when you have a quarterback who like doesn't like make plays. He just kind of manages. I think Tannehill's always been just the game manager, not going to be a guy who just you put the team on his back.
Yeah.
And I think what we're seeing now is that teams are, loading the box up until I would even think this. I think the same way about Najee. Like teams are just like, okay, we'll take away this thing and then make your quarterback beat us. And so teams that play against the Steelers, teams that play against the Titans, they're like, we're going to make your quarterback beat us, whether that's putting 9 guys in the box or 8 guys in the box. And then, of course, we had DeAndre Hopkins, but like and then you and I could be wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3 out there. Like they just don't have a bunch of guys.
I think that's losing that AJ trade.
Oh,
they tried to get lucky and do what the Vikings did, where the Vikings just struck oil and just got lucky, and the Diggs trade turned into Justin Jefferson.
Yeah,
and you pretty much got a younger guy for, you traded what ended up being a top 5 receiver for a top 3 receiver, and he's younger and cheaper. But
and then AJ Brown's just having an incredible season. But maybe he was he was clearly limited at because of the offense, because of Tannehill.
True.
I like Tannehill a lot, and I think I look at the game against the Bengals 2 years ago? It was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And when Burrow went there's all he had to do is make 1 play and we win that game. Win the AFC Championship again. And he couldn't do it. So he's hurt. They have a bye this week. So you know what that might mean. I think they've officially moved on from Malik. So do you know what era we're rushing into now?
The Levis, baby.
The Levis.
Time to loosen it. Time to loosen it up.
Let's go. So that would be now. It would be nothing for me to watch my former Kentucky quarterback run for his life back there. I feel like I did that last year, but at least I have a jersey, so that'd be kind of fun.
True.
So I think that like we know exactly what we get when we have Tannehill out there. He's a good dude, a quarterback who is like, he's not going to kill you with mistakes. It's just when you need him to make a play, he doesn't very often, And so because this is such a quarterback league, I look at the Vikings, I look at the Tennessee, even though I think we have a better record. No, we've had the same record, 2-4. I just have a lot more confidence in the Vikings than I do, or in Kirk Cousins than I do in the quarterback situation.
I think too, the NFC is a roster driven conference and the AFC is a quarterback driven conference. And AFC, you've got just dogs at quarterback, and the NFC, you've got just rosters that are absurd.
Yeah.
Like Niners top to bottom are good. Eagles top to bottom are good. And obviously the AFC teams aren't bad top to bottom, but you know that the quarterbacks are kind of carrying. I guess my curious question would be, where are you at with Herbert? Like, is Herbert becoming a guy that we kind of expected more from, but isn't quite there to be a guy that can go win you games? Because that Cowboys game, like, he makes a few of those throws, and they probably win that game. Like, he missed a few throws that he needed to make. And don't get me wrong, he's got an absolute rocket. But like, I think it's starting to feel like he's not in the Mahomes, Burrow, Allen tier, and he's more in the like top of the second tier of quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know that he's that far away though. I think you look at play calling perennially for the last 2 years.
That's true.
I think that's kind of lowered his standard for one, but two, and then he's not hitting. He could be, but I could be wrong here. We'll have to have our statisticians check, but I think he's in the top 5 quarterbacks for fourth quarter, or top 5 in comeback fourth quarter comebacks. I think he's way up there, which is obviously situational. Like, most of the time Mahomes isn't coming from behind. He can, but like, he's not coming behind a lot. Anyway, that because we're running the show, we can have a second to talk about the NFL. But let's jump into the fantasy, our Scrantasy league. We talk about matchups of the week and stuff, or we talk about heroes and zeros of the week. I figured we just go this matchup style. I mean, you're in a war right now, between you and Bradley. Why don't you just speak a little bit on like what the implications of this matchup is and what kind of you think moving forward? Go ahead.
I talked to Bradley and I texted him and I said, I think if either of us want a chance of making top 4, whoever loses this week is out. Like, the loser of this week is out. And not to say that we're going to be, coming last or be even in the bottom 4, but I genuinely think with both of us being 2-4, I don't think we can afford a loss to another 2-4 team, and that works for both of us. Yeah. Like, that's no disrespect.
It's situational. It's not like personal.
Totally. And it's like, I genuinely think like if I don't win this week, I don't know if I can. Because the realistic thing is like, can I rattle off 8 in a row? Probably. But is that probably going to happen? Can I do that? Yes. Is that probably going to happen? No.
Right.
Like, I don't have that team. And just even if you do, like, you can't bank on 8 straight wins. Like,
right. Because
you just can't. You'd be like, okay, well, I've got a shot if I don't lose again. Well, it's like you're probably going to. It's just the way it is. Like, and I think me and him were talking, and you're like, I pray. That's a little bit much. But I hope that, there's a few games like my game with G. I lost by 3. It was right there. I lost another game by 2. Like, I lost to Scott by like 3 or 4. And it's like,
one of those hoping some of those game? Short.
Yes. Yeah. And you're like, I'm hoping some of those close losses end up being close wins in the second half. You just kind of hope that it ends up averaging itself out. You end up winning some close games that you probably shouldn't. because you lost some games that you feel like you shouldn't. And not to say that I shouldn't have lost. I was in a position to win. Definitely the Olave game.
Mhm.
And then even the G game, like I think Goddard they did try to do the tush push, and it was a fake tush push to a pass to Goddard, and Jalen tripped, and Goddard was just wide open in the end zone, and that would have got me the win. So you're like, you feel like your team, I don't know, and I feel like right now, the team that I've assembled hasn't lost. With the trades that I've made, my current roster hasn't lost yet, and hopefully that can continue to keep going. But for Bradley, I just look at the schedule. He's got you next week. Obviously not an easy win. And then he ends the year 2 in a row against Britt, which I don't know how that works schedule-wise
Yeah,
or why
you
that
should.
happened. But
That's another pod for we got to address that with the
yeah,
commissioner when he
but
was on. But sure.
but I think like for him, he just can't afford to lose another one because those are 3 games where you could very easily go
Yeah.
2-3 or
Right.
1-2. And if he wins 2 out of those 3 games, that's pretty freaking good. Like
Yeah.
I think
For anybody to win 2 of 3 of those games, I think
yes,
is
you'd be pleased with. And so
yeah.
for him, he can't afford to lose to a 2-4 team
Right.
and hope to make the playoffs. And so I do feel good. Like I don't feel like I'm gonna come in last. Like I like my roster
Yeah.
in terms of talent, and I think the team I have now, I don't think is 2-4, but too late now.
Right.
I assembled the team 4 weeks too late. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Hopefully I want to win, and I think I have Britt next week. So it's one of those where if I look out of here and I'm 4-4, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
And I'd be very happy. It's easy to say, oh, well, let's win this week and next week, and then see where we're at. But we'll see. But that's I don't know. To me, that's the biggest matchup. At least, obviously, it's my
It's got
team.
the
Like
most
the biggest
implication.
matchup.
I think yeah. It's
but
definitely the
I
matchup that has the most at stake.
I genuinely do feel like I'm, if it's me or him, and if to me the only bottom feeder I think that can make a chance or a shot at the top 4 is me or him.
Yeah.
And I don't think Wyatt's team's very good. And Wyatt, if you're listening, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but Ridley not doing anything.
Yeah, that was
Ridley was like your bright spot after week 1, and he's gone in hiding. So, I don't know. I think if any bottom feeder gets up there, it's going to be me or him, and this is the game that'll decide it.
Yeah, when I look at I'm playing Evan and Noah's against Wyatt, and I think that certainly anything can happen. Like Evan, his kicker was the only one to play. Like he's still got a lot of guys to play, and those matchups to me, like they're significant in some ways, but like they're probably going to go how you would think they're going to go. If you lose, like you just lose, and that's what it is. I think the other 2 matchups are more telling for me. Like you've got this matchup between G and Scott. I think so G's 5-1, and then I just think he's got we talked about his question marks last week, and this will be a good test. Like Scott's got a good team, and they just hadn't worked out for him so far. So that matchup is huge. And then the other one, Britt versus Cooper. I think, man, both of them are coming in on a streak, and I think Britt's won 5 in a row. I think.
Was Britt? Cooper's won 4.
Yeah, I mean it's at least 3, at least 3.
Yeah,
and so they're both of those teams are hot, and I think just kind of where does G stand against Scott? Can Scott kind of like make a rally? Because we've always talked about Scott's got he's a great drafter. Like he drafted a great team, just hasn't been
totally.
kind of what anybody thought. And then those 2 matchups I think are worth looking at. If I like as and then like sitting at 4-2, like wondering who will be in the top 4, and thinking that, man, I have a pretty good shot. That one with Cooper and Britt is kind of the one that kind of sticks out to me. So
I mentioned too. This is, I think, for a bottom 4 as of right now to get in the top 4. I need someone to run the table. Like I need someone to not lose again.
Yeah,
unless it's to me. Like I need their only losses to come at my hand, because I need them to start giving teams losses. I can't afford G, Britt, and you, and whoever else, to just beat up on teams they should beat. I need some guys to I need good teams to lose games.
Yeah.
And I need it to be one. I don't know if one team could separate itself. I feel like that would open the door even more.
Well, and that's it pains me to say this. I think that if there was a team that could do that, it would be Britt.
I agree.
I'm not rooting for that at all. And the boogeyman's coming week 10 for him. So
hey, think about this though. That ETN trade, I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
Not even just for my team, but dude, if he still had ETN, oh my gosh. We'd be talking a freaking unit. A powerhouse,
he
dude.
Probably would have traded him to somebody else. Britt's always looking for a
deal. He is.
All right, so we had some in the last couple of weeks. We've had a little bit of a trade, like some trade, not issues, but we've had some trade talk going on, and you had mentioned like you'd like to voice a couple of pet peeves in regards to trades. So I'm going to give you the floor to speak, and this is like humbly, I'm not.
Yeah.
I aired my grievances last week. I mean, Britt is still my rival, and I'm coming for his head. But I moved on from that. Now it's just down to business. So when it comes to trade stuff, we don't have to rehash anything that's happened. I'm just telling you, we can just some pet peeves. Totally. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, I think I have a pet peeve about when we were talking trades or whatever, and someone initiates a trade with you, but then won't make an offer. So it's like if you're coming to me, if you're asking me for a trade,
I want ETN. Yeah.
You have to tell me what you're willing to give to get him. It's not my responsibility to tell you. Now, again, it's to say, hey, is there somebody you want?
Yeah.
Right? Now, if there's because again, I don't know who you value, who I value, whatever.
Right.
But if you were to say, I don't think that's a terrible question. I can't say that there's no ifs, ands, or buts. You make the offer. But to me, if you're initiating the trade with me, it's your responsibility to put the guidelines down. Because if you're coming to me, I'm good. I'm not necessarily looking for a trade. You are. Yeah. So what do you want? What do you think? What do you want to happen? What is a trade you're interested in making? Don't just say, hey, what's the price for so-and-so? And if you do, you say, hey, I'm interested in so-and-so. Is there anybody that kind of gets your interest on my roster, right? But to me, you can't negotiate until any offer's been made.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes into my next thing is I don't think it's terrible. I don't know, the whole Rule 0 thing and everything about last week. My thought is I don't want to trade shame people. I don't want any sort of because here's the deal. Sometimes I send you an awful deal or I send a trade that I don't think's fair just to get the conversation started. Just to get maybe, you know what I mean? But to me, some offer has to be made before the conversation really can start about what are we talking about? What are we thinking? So I don't know. I think trade shaming people, and then obviously last week was just kind of its own thing, and there's two sides of the story or whatever. But I remember, and I talked to Scott yesterday, so we're good. But I mentioned it to him. I was like, I sent him an offer early, I think, and he texted it in the group me and was like, oh, hey, if so-and-so, if Blake offers you this and this for that, be sure to know that he's, trying to screw you over or whatever. I was like, I don't think any of us are trying to screw each other over. And I don't think any of us can really be screwed over. I think we've got 10 guys that are pretty good at this.
Yeah.
No way. I just got pooped on.
What does that say? Oh, how about that, man?
That's cool. That's insane.
Yeah.
That's a talking shop first.
Well, so here's what I'll say. I think what you said, the part that's to me is the key is that when you're in a negotiation like that, now doesn't have to be a formal trade, but something you've thrown out there, right? And you're trying to get value. You're trying to understand where is, because I may not. I mean, I'll just use my team as an example. I think CD is really good, but I was ready to deal him. And I hate I watch him score, and he had a great game last week. And I'm like, well, that'd have been nice if I had him. Maybe things look different, But the reality is, I didn't value him as much as Bradley did, and so for me that gave me not an advantage, but it just gives me I'm more than willing to part with him, and I know that he values him, so I might be able to get a little bit more than I might from someone else. And so there's that give and take for sure. But I think about the trade shaming part, and this will be all that I'll say about Britt's offer to me. It wasn't that the trade itself was like bad, like the trade was bad, but it wasn't that wasn't the what fueled my fire. It was that like it to me, it was made to seem like you're an idiot if you don't accept this deal, because look at the IBM Watson analyzer. Like you're getting 79 on this trade score, and I'm getting a 65. When like, okay, come on, guys. Like Barkley and Johnson have played a total of one game through 5 weeks together. Like that's not going to be accurate. And that's all I'll say about that. So I think from a trade shaming standpoint, I'm under the I think I said this with Bradley. I think it'd be awesome to have just like a glass trade block where like people can look and see have the inner workings. Like that just fascinates me, like how people think about trades and how they value their team. And I know that it would be very messy. And then like you could have people come and snipe like, oh, I offer like, and that and for those reasons I understand that couldn't happen. But there's a world where I think it'd be really interesting to see how people approach trades. Anyway, so
I guess my main point was like, at the end of the day, I just want as much movement as possible because it's the most fun and keeps everybody the most engaged whenever we trade. And I think the more trades, the better. And so to me, I don't want to not send an offer to get a conversation started because I'm afraid Scott's going to screenshot it and send it in the group text and act like I'm just make somebody not want to trade with me because they think I'm a trade raper or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
but like, I guess my thought was like, why would you have to send a sorry ass offer? Like, why couldn't you just say, hey, I'm trying to make sense of this. Here's the piece. What's the other? What's like, where are we at with the other piece? You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to, I guess you don't have to send the crappy offer. You could just say, dude, this is stupid. But like, I mean, I know you're probably not thinking, but I'm thinking in this vein, where do we need to give and take in what areas? And I don't think that to me is like a negotiation, not just a straight up shame or whatever.
Yeah. No, yeah, I agree. I think the glass box thing, I understand it's more of a concept and you're like actually wanting to make it happen. But I don't know, to me it gets too sticky, and to me it's like, I don't know, I feel like I've made like good trades and like feel like I've been able to kind of build my team. And I feel like if that were to happen, sometimes some of those deals that I don't know, I feel like it would discredit good managers.
Oh, I understand. Maybe it's like afterwards. Maybe it's like after the league, after the season kind of thing. Because I think you're right. Because it would give you a
to sit in.
Yeah.
If you're like, I think for like someone like Dalton, where it's like he has no team, he has no vested interest. I want to see how the conversation's going.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know what the conversation is, what's the offer, how does that conversation go? How does that negotiation go? But it's hard when I'm like, oh, well, if you're like, oh, well, Britt's only offering this, or I was like, oh, Blake's only offering this and this for ETN. I could offer more than that. You know what I mean? And
that's where it gets sticky, for sure.
Out of nowhere, this guy comes in and steals my deal that I've, you know what I mean? And you're like, that's dumb.
That's not what we want. That you're right. That doesn't allow for movement, which I agree is fun. That makes it fun. I'll just say my quick pet peeve. It's happened to me a couple of times. Where somebody wins a waiver wire and then they like want to make that piece like the main piece of the deal with you, like because they saw that you bid on it or whatever. That's a pet peeve of mine. I think it's kind of like if you're going to throw that in as part of a deal, like totally, like I mean it is a value thing if they have if they try to get
sweetener. But sweetener to send it.
But if you're like, hey, I noticed that Montgomery's out. I just do you want to trade Craig Reynolds for it's like, well, no, I don't. Like I don't.
Hey, CD Lamb's on bye. You need a, I need a, you know what I mean? Like I've got a running back to spare. You want Craig Reynolds? It's like, well,
yeah.
No,
and
that really,
that doesn't happen a ton. I feel like honestly, I feel like it's happened more this year. It feels like there's been a lot more waiver movement this year than maybe last year. And I don't know, I can't speak to the years before that either, but it feels like, man, the people are moving on the waiver wire right this year.
I don't know. To me, it's just I don't know. It's me and Scott were talking about this, and even Noah, which I was excited to hear Noah say such good things about the league. But me and Noah, he was like, we had a high school league. This league's been going on for 10 years. We switched to a dynasty league. That league's gotten stale. Guys don't really care. I was like, we got to try something to maybe give some life to this league. And we just kind of were like, man, it's just not that great, you know? And it's like, just nobody really cares. And so, and then honestly, being in a league like the one we're in makes the other league seem so much worse because you're like, dude, we make a freaking Zoom video that everybody watches. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's insane.
Really,
like the level of commitment, and buy-in from 10 people to be this devoted and to care this much. We have a dude who didn't want to play, but he still didn't want to leave the league, so he's still involved. Like, what? Exactly. And he makes graphics, and he's also on the podcast in a league that he doesn't even play in.
Yeah,
it's dumb, but it's amazing. And
it's
when
so
you're
fun.
in other leagues when you're in leagues that aren't like that, has ruined every other fantasy football league for me.
Yeah.
But I love it. Like I don't like, to be honest, people ask me to be in leagues and I'm like, honestly, man, like, I'm good. You know, like, I get this is my this scratches my fantasy football itch. Like, I have AJ Brown in another league. I played Evan last week. AJ Brown could score 0 points and I'd have been happy. Like, I don't
that's your measuring stick.
I don't, you know what I mean? I'm like, dude, if AJ Brown scores, normally you're like, hey, if AJ Brown could score like 14, not bad, not crazy. I don't care. He can go for 0. All I want to do is win this league. Every other league doesn't really matter to me. So the other roster, it just exists. I don't really care about it. I'm not looking at moves or deals to make in that league. So I just, it's so great, man. And I don't know, maybe I'm just bragging and showing my love and appreciation for this league.
I think a good segment, moving forward, to bring those guys on, bring Scott and Noah, and y'all talk about the league and how cool it is. But we'll do that at some other time. All right, we'll wrap up this way, dude. I know we've kind of I mean, you and I, we can talk about anything, but I feel like it's been a couple weeks since we've tracked the hot takes, and I don't even think last week, because of the purge take, I don't think we had hot takes, and so I thought we would just revisit these, and we can do kind of rapid fire, and I'll just read them. And I've got some stats here, and so I'll just give you. I'm going to read them, and then you just give me your reaction to how that is played out.
Yeah.
All right, so the first one, we'll start with Bradley's. Okay, Bradley, first one. Lamar lays an egg week 2, finishes outside top 15 QB.
Not looking great.
Yeah,
it was hot. It was hot.
It was a hot take. It was a hot take. Now, in week 2, he did have 23 points. He bounced back big time.
He did.
And I think ultimately, I think he'll have more better games than worse games, but his worst games are I think that makes his bad games, it amplifies them, right? Like when you're expecting him to have really, I need him. Anyway. Okay. All right. There's that. His next one, 3 wide receivers out of the top 30, finish in the top 10, which I think that was week 2 or week 3 when he said that. I need to go back and see when he said that.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to, it's pretty generic. It's not. I mean, it's a good.
It's not very specific. Yeah. But it makes sense. For me, like there's guys who.
It's hard for me who doesn't. I don't have a specific Lamar. I know what Lamar's done. I don't know who the top 30 was in week 2.
Well, I think Puka. Puka's probably one who is definitely outside of the top 30. Well, at least when he was drafted. Not. Since week 1, he's been in the top 10. I would think. Yeah. All right, his last one, and this one's I'm glad he's on here because it's pretty salty. It's pretty salt in the wounds, if you ask me. Gibbs is a top 15 running back in the second half. You now have Gibbs. What do you? I mean,
I hope he's right. I'm starting Gibbs this week. Aaron Jones' hamstring I guess refuses to heal, and Breece has been great for me, but Breece is on bye.
Yeah,
and I know with Montgomery out, this is the week I think that if Gibbs is going to have a good week, it's this one. So. Boy, I'm praying that he makes it all up this week. Yeah. But hey, I play him this week. Can you imagine?
Oh, seriously, salt in the wounds. All right, we'll go to I'll skip to mine. I'll give you mine, and then I'll read yours and I'll respond to those. How about that? All right, so I had that Puka was going to outscore Kupp on the season. Okay, now probably not a hot take in one sense because he missed 4 weeks and that's a big deal. Having said that,
it kind of is though.
Especially now, as you see it now. Typically, though, a guy who plays 4 games is going to have more points than. But
but you said that week 1.
Yeah.
he had one good game. I think that was kind of crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I definitely don't think that was like, that was awesome. I think that's a crazy good take. I think that has aged very well. Obviously, Cup's going to do Cup things, but I think those 4 weeks, Cup was a freaking Triple Crown winner. Like, Cup's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
But for that to, I mean, with Nakua, if he puts up 15 a week, I think he's going to outscore him. You know what I mean? Like,
right now,
of the first 4 games, he did so well.
He went nuts. So right now, Puka has 122.2 points, and Cooper Cup has 47.6. So, I mean, Cup is closing the gap, and he'll probably close it really quickly.
Yeah.
But if he, if he holds on to like week 14 or 15, I think that's huge for my take anyway.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
All right.
Yeah, it's definitely not a take that you're like, oh gosh. Nah,
I think it sits. It may sit better than the Lamar take, which I'll have that. All right. So Baker Mayfield better than Tom Brady. Just kidding. He's going to have a top that he'll have a top.
Okay, I was like,
that he'll have a top 10 offense, or I think we said top. I said top 8 offense. He'll be a top 8 quarterback, top 8 offense.
I don't see it.
Too much. Well, he plays in a bad division. I think that's helpful.
Yeah, true. I think there's just too much talent. Too many good offenses. You know what I mean? Like, even a team like the Vikings, who's 2-4, like, I think their offense is better. You know, like, it's a better. Now, I'm not saying they're a better team. Obviously, they beat us, but the offense is there. So.
All right, my last one. This one cuts at the heart a little bit. But Tajay Spears is greater than Derrick Henry in fantasy football.
Dude, to me, I think it's a great take. The only hiccup could be, I mean, we didn't really talk about this, but are the Titans sellers at the deadline? Like, are they looking to move him? Would they trade him? Is that
That's even true? I think that does that would negate the because then Spears would be the guy, and then Henry would probably go somewhere else to be the guy. But in the current as his current roster, like, and I think from a who would you rather have on your team? I think it's a no-brainer. You'd rather have Derrick Henry on your team, but the way this team is playing and the way, like, it's just they're behind so much, they're passing a lot more, so it's just it. But I think for this season right now, I think it's accurate. Yeah,
I agree.
All right, time to put you on blast, Blake. Here we go.
All right, mine were
Devontae Smith is wide receiver 1 in Philly.
Yep. And then AJ Brown is a thing of the past. What do you think?
I don't know if you want these numbers, but
I give them to me. I want them.
AJ Brown 121 points. Devontae Smith 73.4 points.
And a lot of those came week 2. He had like 23 week 2.
That is true. So that one has not aged well, though. I think Devontae's going to bounce back. He'll bounce back in that offense. So he'll close that gap, I think. But since you lit a fire under AJ Brown.
He's not taking it back. Which maybe that was a little bit of wishful thinking on my end, having him in my other league.
Yeah.
Maybe wanting him to turn it up a little bit, but hey, he's done it. He's proven me wrong. I appreciate it.
Your next take, I think, is excellent. Tua finishes no worse than QB5. I think he's QB3 or 4 right now, and just with that offense, if he stays healthy, I don't think there's any way that he's not. I think you're right.
I agree. They're just McDaniel's too good. Their offense is too good. I don't think that was as hot of a take when I said it.
I think it was it was before they scored 70. That's for sure.
That's true. I also think the other thing too is you don't think, like, what if the whole thing with him was kind of like, is he going to stay healthy?
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of that to me with him. That's not an outlier to be like, well, he got hurt, it doesn't count. He's got health concerns.
You're taking into account
he struggles to stay healthy. When you make the take, you say, hey, I think he's going to be able to stay healthy. We'll see. Hopefully he does. They're so fun, and I would love if they came out of the AFC.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Your last one was Olave finishes top 7. I don't think that it's a horrible take, except when you look at their quarterback. You watched the game last night. He's just much more apt to check down. I don't know how he ended up last night.
He ended with 12. Not bad. He always catches 5 catches for 15 yards each one. Each one's 15. So he'll always end 5 for 60 or 5 for 72, and he ends up with about 12. Yeah. Which is, I mean, not.
But if he gets a touchdown, that's 18.
That's not top 5.
Yeah.
He just, I don't know. He's so good. I think obviously I'm very high on him, and Britt knows that more than anybody. But Dude, Carr, do you think somebody told him he can throw further than 2 yards? Somebody let him know. I mean, does Dennis Allen let him know, hey, you don't have to throw a 2 yard check down every single time? You got weapons. It's not like you're in freaking New England where Kendrick Bourne's your wide receiver one with Devontae Parker. I mean, throw the ball.
They scored so fast in that, like that the when they tied it up, they scored so fast. Like it makes you wonder, like, okay, so it's there. Like the talent is there. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe he's just real quick trigger. I don't know. I don't watch them enough. Honestly, we need.
Well, I've seen passes where he throws it away, and there's a dude wide open. I saw a clip today. There's a dude wide open, 10 yards downfield in the middle of the field, and he throws it away.
Yeah.
What? I don't know. Bro, anyways, don't get me started on Derek Carr.
I'll take a ball. The last hot take, and this, since I'm involved in this one, I'll give you the floor. Dalton's hot take was that a rematch in the Scrantasy Championship in the playoffs this year. Maybe not in the championship, but it could be in the first round.
Yeah. I mean, 4-2, 5-1. I think it all comes down to how does the CMC hold up? How long does Jefferson take to come back? If G wins these games with Jefferson still being out,
yeah, that's tough,
dude. Like, if he finds a way to make it work, then he's going to be there.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely see it. I don't think it's the dumbest take in the world. It's aging pretty well.
Yeah.
Oh, I had my take last year. My last take last year was Wyatt's the first person to go back-to-back punishments. No, also not aging poorly.
Yeah, that one is that's anything can happen in that 2-week span, like somebody goes down, but I was in a bad place 2 years ago, and I was like, man, I'm gonna take the ACT, and then I just happened to have a monster week, and I edged out Cooper. Thank the Lord, but we don't have to rehash that, Blake. I think we have successfly done talking shop.
I think we've successfully talked shop.
It was good talking shop. I can't say. I mean, I do wish the other guys were on it, but I can't say I didn't have any fun, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think did we get, like, there is a commissioner's address, like Bradley just texted, sorry guys, there's a talking shop. If you make it to the bar, we have a group text. I mean, you guys know, you knew it. You knew that there was a group text, but there is one. And he said that he would like to have a commissioner's address. So here, I'll officially, now whether he chooses to do this in another video or if it's tacked on into this, I will just say, hey, commish, you have the floor. Blake, you got anything else?
No, I'm done. Pleasure, Nathan. It was fun.
Yep, absolutely.
It's always a pleasure.
All right, good luck to all of our peeps out there. Hope you all win.
Yep.
All right, peace out.
Hello and good morning. I'm in a coffee shop right now. Contract disputes got taken care of, so we're back and talking shop with everybody soon. But I do have a hot take about one of our shop members that was needed to be made public, and you can discuss at your leisure. This is an anonymous take sent in very recently. Nathan is on a similar path as Johnny Manziel. Once a beloved champion, a fan favorite, now on a path of self-destruction. His recent comments, actions, and him seeking arguments has been strange behavior. I believe it'll catch up to him at some point, similar to Manziel. Nathan himself will be the cause of his downfall. In fact, there may be a podcast release called The Rise and Fall of Nathan McDivitt if he's not careful. So yeah, there you go. Do with that what you will. This has been Talkin Shop.